I want to show you the raw reality of raising a multilingual family. 99.99% of you watching this don't know me in real life. Based on my videos, you might get the impression that we are a perfect trilingual family, where everyone gets along in perfect harmony and the children speak and read and write all 3 languages effortlessly. If you think that, you could not be more wrong. In this video, I want to burst that bubble and reveal to you the raw reality of raising trilingual children, sharing with you 5 brutal truths that no one else would tell you. But at the end, I'll tell you why, despite this grim reality, there's one single reason why I'm not giving up. Before we dive into brutal truth number 1, let me tell you about a domestic argument my husband and I had last week. It was 8 p.m. on a weekday. By that time, both my husband and I had worked for a whole day, prepped dinner, done a million chores around the house. I was so ready to just put my feet up with a glass of wine. Well, not so fast. My husband still had to read a Russian book with our son. My daughter and I were reading a book in one bedroom while my son was reading in another room with my husband. When I heard my husband raise his voice with our son, probably because our son wasn't concentrating enough because it was late in the evening, I rushed to the room and yelled at my husband, "Stop yelling at him!" He went, "Stop interfering, we are reading a Russian book." And in that moment, I just lost it. I blurted out, "Jesus Christ, is reading in Russian that important?" Ouch, that did not go down so well. It might just sound like a typical domestic row between husband and wife, but this incident actually reflects an underlying current of tension within our family that directly results from having to juggle 3 languages. While my husband and I are 100% in agreement that we want to raise our children to be trilingual and that in theory, the 2 minority languages, meaning Russian and Chinese, are of equal importance, when we are in a crappy mood, usually because we are just tired, or when there is a conflict in terms of resource allocation, these underlying tensions can just explode. As I explained in a previous video, my husband tried to make me speak Russian when all 3 of us were together, because I speak some basic Russian, but I got so fed up and frustrated that we've pretty much given up on that. My mum also can get a bit touchy when my husband speaks to the children in Russian when all of us are together. She would make jokey comments like, "Oh, you're really training them to speak Russian to be a Russian spy, aren't you?" Yeah, even relationships with the in-laws can get affected by this whole trilingual thing. If you're about to embark on your own multilingual parenting journey, don't say I haven't warned you. Just kidding. My advice to all parents out there is this. You and your partner need to agree on the exact implementation of your family language strategy. Watch my video where I explain the 3 main strategies if you're just starting out. You need to agree on when and where to use each language and make sure that the boundaries are clearly defined. If in-laws are involved, please make sure that they are on board with all this as well, that they know what to expect, and that they respect your family's language setup. Trust me on this one. Download my free family language planner so you can put an actual strategic plan in place. Setting clear expectations and boundaries will go a long way towards a more harmonious multilingual home. Now, the next brutal truth. Let me tell you a little anecdote from our trip to Germany last year. We spent a beautiful week with my cousin's family in August and had the most amazing time ever. The kids played nicely together, communicating in Mandarin, and all the adults got to enjoy each other's company, drinking lots of German beer and eating lots of hearty German food. Everything was great. Then on day 3 or day 4, after enjoying a long, lazy breakfast together, my husband whipped out some Russian workbooks and said, "It's time for заниматься," which means to do homework. My cousin and her husband were shocked. "Wait a minute, aren't you guys on holiday?" My husband's reaction was deadpan. Well, they can't go a whole week without doing homework. Okay, and my husband quickly earned the label of Tiger Dad, and we all had a good laugh about it. But why am I telling you this anecdote? One brutal truth that people won't tell you is this. Raising your kids to be bilingual or trilingual or multilingual is blaming hard work, especially if you want to teach them to read and write in the target language as well. As I explained in some previous videos, we have a daily reading and writing routine, half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening. And my husband and I do this ourselves, so basically it's another hour of work added to our full-time work day. To put things in perspective, I know this might not sound like a lot if you grew up in an educational system where an hour of homework a day would be considered normal, like I did. But we are doing this on top of the children's actual schoolwork, with both of us working full-time and with no domestic help. It is a lot of effort, honestly, especially in the evening when all I want to do is lock myself up in my bedroom with a glass of wine and a book and tell the world to leave me alone. I find myself asking, what on earth are we doing this for, right? Why are we making life so hard for ourselves? Because it's worth it. We're absolutely convinced that juggling 3 very different writing systems has been extremely beneficial in our children's development. While speaking 3 languages already gives your brain a huge boost, reading and writing just turbocharges these benefits, and it teaches the children discipline and grit. It teaches them that sometimes we have to do things that are hard and not always enjoyable. Mind you though, we do try to make it as fun as possible. I use Chinese Disney storybooks that have entertaining plot lines that the kids do find enjoyable. And we make up our own stories as we go along. Basically anything that makes the sessions more fun and less of a chore. But the main takeaway from this brutal truth is this. Raising multilingual kids is harder than you think. It does not happen automatically. Maybe for some people it does, but more often than not, it's the result of tons of hard work behind the scenes. And even if the speaking happens automatically, the reading and writing never does. Still, I don't want you to be put off. I want you to embrace the challenge, and I want you to know that teaching your child to read and write in a different language will be one of the most rewarding and fulfilling things you can do for your child and with your child. The benefits for them will be immense, both in terms of the cognitive development side of things and character building. Remember, hard work will always pay off, even if in unexpected ways. Now, let's get on to brutal truth number 3. Have you ever been in a situation where you were speaking your language in a different country and people around you gave you weird looks? Amazingly, this almost never happened to me until last year when we went to a place called Bognor Regis for a family getaway. For those of you who are not in the UK, Bognor Regis is a seaside town in southern England, known for its coastal charm and the Butlins Resort. I reviewed this place on Google, so I won't do it here now. Anyhow, I was walking around with the kids in Bognor Regis without my husband one afternoon doing a bit of shopping. We were speaking in Chinese, as we always do, but for the first time, maybe ever, a middle-aged elderly man actually glared at us in a super unfriendly way. He might as well have said out loud, "Speak English, you are in England." But you know what? I actually don't blame people like this man in Bognor Regis for feeling this way. It's human nature to divide people into in-groups and out-groups, people like us and people who aren't like us, right? And language can be a powerful marker of your group status. So this man's reaction just shows he's human, maybe, right? And of course, this is something many migrants in other countries would have experienced. We are extremely fortunate in that this sort of thing has rarely happened to us. But as I pointed out in another video about why raising bilingual kids can attract negative reactions, the link's in the description box below if you're interested, speaking a foreign language with your child in public can provoke racist verbal responses and, in more extreme cases, even physical attacks. Shocking, but true. What can you do about it? There's no easy answer to this question. While I do think that speaking to your child in the target language at all times is the best way to achieve fluency, you'll have to judge for yourself whether it's safe for you to speak your language in public, whether you feel comfortable speaking it. I know it's sort of insane that we're actually talking about physical safety, but that's the reality for some, unfortunately. In my case, I just choose to ignore unfriendly looks. You just can't please everyone, right? Whatever you do, and I mean in life in general, someone won't like it. But if you decide that that's something worth doing and is the right decision for your family, don't let some judgmental looks from people put you off. So, Bognor Regis man, sorry, not sorry. Now, we're moving on to brutal truth number 4. A few years ago, the kids and my husband and I were in our local playground when I started chatting to another mum. By the way, have you noticed that 90% of my stories take place in the playground? Welcome to my life. She heard my husband speaking to the children in Russian, and she started telling me about her daughter. It turned out that this mum was also from Russia, but her partner's English. Her daughter was at the time already in school, while ours were still in nursery, so she was a year or so ahead of us. The mum told me that her daughter had been perfectly bilingual when she was younger, but then something happened, something changed. Her daughter gradually lost Russian as she started preschool and then big school. With a mirthless smile, she gave me a stark warning. You just wait. You just wait till they're in school. You will see that they won't speak your languages anymore. No. They'll only want to speak English. And this is, my friends, shocking truth number 4. You'll inevitably meet people who want you to fail, who can't stand the fact that your children can speak more than one language. In short, envy. I actually didn't think much of this subject until one of my readers reached out to me by email. She and her partner are raising the kids to be trilingual in Germany, and she asked me for advice on dealing with people's envious and jealous reactions, especially coming from people who speak the same language as herself, but haven't managed to pass it on to their own children. Her email made me realize that, damn, this is actually a very common and universal problem. What can you do about it? Not much. One thing I've learned over the years is that there's little point in getting upset about what other people think about you. You literally have no control over that. I really try to live by the Stoic principle of not concerning yourself with things that are outside of your control. Other people's envy and jealousy are precisely things that you literally can't control, right? Okay, I mean, if you're really constantly showing off about your child's genius abilities and achievements, then yeah, maybe try toning that down a bit and people will be less jealous. But I guarantee you that even if you are super humble about it, some people will still be jealous and make their feelings clear to you. My only bit of advice is to tell yourself, let them be. They are in control of their feelings, not you. Now, the final brutal truth. I would like to begin by telling you a story of regret. A couple of years ago, we were having a regular play date with our neighbors at the time. They were a Hungarian family and their child was a bit younger than mine, but we all got along really well. The mum was really nice. I really liked her. But then on this particular day, we were having this play date in the apartment, the kids eating junk food and playing with their toys on the floor, me and the other mum sipping tea on the couch, just chatting, And one of my kids said something to me in Chinese. It wasn't the first time that this mum had heard the kids talking to me in Chinese, but for some reason, on this occasion, she decided to say something. She started giggling and went on to say, "Oh my God, it's hilarious how your kids talk to you in Chinese. They talk like this." Basically making Chinese sounds. I was pretty shocked and upset, but I said nothing. I actually smiled along. And I'll always regret this. I should have called her out on her comment. Surely it's not okay to say things like that, especially when my children were right there in the same room. Let's do a quick poll here. Do you think this mum's comment was unacceptable? I really want to know if I'm just overreacting or if her comment was out of order. Please share in the comments below. I would love to know what you guys think. Anyway, back to the story. This comment was especially unexpected coming from her, as her child only spoke Hungarian at home. I wonder how she would feel if someone mocked her child for speaking the language. Honestly, if you're raising your child to be bilingual or trilingual or whatever, be prepared for this. Inevitably, someone somewhere will comment on or straight up laugh at how your child speaks. I've made a promise to myself in the future. If someone says something like this to me in front of the kids again, I will politely but firmly call them out. Okay, so these are 5 brutal truths about the reality of raising multilingual children, at least for us. So, you will fight with your spouse. You'll be totally knackered. You'll get dirty looks from strangers. People will be jealous of you. They might even hate you. People will laugh at your child. Is anyone signing up? Now I want to tell you why, despite all these challenges, there's a very simple reason why my husband and I haven't given up. Why I think you should never give up or be put off. It is this. This is our world, made up of 195 countries, home to 8.1 billion members of the Homo sapiens species who speak 7,000 different languages. You might be watching this video from Bangkok or Beirut or Berlin. Wherever you are, you live in a tiny corner of this unimaginably vast world, as do we. By raising our child to speak more than one language, you're expanding their horizons, broadening their minds, and reminding them of the sheer vastness of this world and the diversity of the people with whom we share this little blue planet. You are sowing the seed in their mind that people have different perspectives, that there is more than one way of looking at the world. Although we live in a sleepy suburb in Hertfordshire, England, we hope that by equipping our children with 2 additional languages, we'll empower them to venture further, to embrace the world in all its wonderful richness, to connect with people who are different from them with more confidence and grace. Now, are you ready to sign up for life as a multilingual family? If you're just starting out, check out my video where I share top tips for raising bilingual babies, as the baby years are so crucial. In fact, I've created a playlist with my must-watch videos which will bring value to parents who want to give their kids the gift of being multilingual. And my family language planner will also help you get started. The download link is in the description box below. I think you'll find it useful. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video.